Oh, and from the looks of it, baby, we are live once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Pirate National Committee open meeting. This is a meeting open to the public, which means if you are in our Discord, you can join at the link in the description. Well, it's not in our description of this video, although I could put it there, but the link is in the Discord. If you're in our Discord, join our Discord, go to the announcements. You'll see it. Yes, you will. My name is Jolly Mitch DeVillo of the Chicagoland Nine, the Illinois Pirate Party, captain of the Illinois Pirate Party, captain of the United States Pirate Party, and as always, a friend of the show. Per the request of my scribe, I will go around and ask for PNC members to identify in alphabetical order. Let's see if I remember the order of the alphabet tonight. First, I will ask the representatives from Arizona to ID.
Blaze Henry, captain of the Arizona Pirate Party and vice captain of the United States Pirate Party.
Current web director of the ACPP.
Excellent. Thank you to our Arizona reps. Next, our representatives from Florida.
Juan DeWard, Florida Pirate Party.
David Hall, co-chair of Florida Pirate Party.
Thank you both. Our representative from Illinois.
PR director for the United States Pirate Party and Illinois Pirate Party rep, Rowan Tipping.
Thank you, Rowan. I do not see any representatives from Indiana today. So you are S. Maryland.
Joel Lightfoot, Maryland captain and U.S. Pirate Party auditor.
Thank you, Joel. Our representatives from Massachusetts.
Eli McGee, Massachusetts representative and treasurer to the U.S. Pirate Party.
Joe, also representative, backup representative, and lookout.
Thank you, Joe. And I did also see you mentioned that Joel was in the other Discord or the other Jitsi chat. If you could send the correct link and we can get Indiana.
Not Joel, Eric.
Or Eric, rather. I'm sorry. Thank you. If you can get that to Eric and we can get Indiana in here, that'd be perfect. So thank you so much. So that was Massachusetts, Ohio.
Marsville, Ohio Pirate Party, and National Webmaster.
Thank you. And I do not see any representation from Pennsylvania tonight. So therefore, I will go down the line for our observer members who are in tonight. And I'll start with Alabama.
Lily Boy, United States Scribe.
Thank you. I know Maine was popping in and out. Do I see Maine here tonight? If Maine pops back in, I will call on Maine. Otherwise, I do see North Carolina.
He wasn't responsive. Sorry.
All good, Joe. Thank you. And thank you, James, for IDing. And then Seth, I believe you're from a PNC member state, but you popped in late. You can ID now if you'd like.
Yeah, no problem. And just to remember, I always forget this, and I apologize, but I don't have to say my last name if I don't want to, right?
If you don't, if you feel privacy concerns to the matter, you can just give us your first name and the voice it. If you would like to keep it on the record for the chat, we are the only ones that get to see the Jitsi chat. But ultimately, for now, if you just feel more comfortable with just giving your name since you're not voting, I think that's more than okay.
Yeah, no problem. So Seth, Florida Pirate Party.
Thank you. And then Eric, our PNC representative from Indiana, has just arrived. Eric, if you wish to ID.
Eric, representative from Indiana.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then Eric, since you are voting today, if you just want to put first and last name in the chat, so just we have that for the record. But otherwise, thank you all for being in attendance today. I will just start by asking, are there any reports from states, candidates, or committees? Blaze, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna send our updates from our previous meeting in the chat. It's a lot. Lily, feel free to edit it down however you wish. And basics is bylaws revamping. Our young pirates rep had to step down because of heavy workload. Asking for pulling donations and money. Talk about potentially be the location for PNC conference of 27. Talk about writing campaign and yard signs and video ads. And it talked about game nights. Twitch approved us, and now we're a go for game night on Tuesday. And we tabled Phoenix event idea something to next week because by then the meeting was going on 2 hours and just we just wanted to go home. So yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Blaze. If I could also request that report in the signal chat, I'll be able to get that trimmed up as well and have that posted in tomorrow's in case you missed it. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you for all the good reports. Anything else from any states, candidates, or committees? I'm hearing none. I'll just give a quick update and say that on Friday, I officially posted that I was going to be launching my campaign for the Midlothian, Illinois Village Board of Trustees. I posted that in the YouTube chat, and I could post that in our chat right here. But otherwise, it was just a simple announcement announcing that I was running on a pretty single issue campaign where I stated that I'm actually a fan of the board of Midlothian, that I appreciate everything that they do. And this is from the heart. I'm shooting from the hip when I say that I would not be joining to be shaking things up and be an adversary to the board. That Midlothian is one of the few places I've ever seen that not only host the regular village board meetings publicly, but then they live stream it as well, which is an incredible practice of government transparency and openness. So I'm certainly not coming in to try to change anything in that regard. My lone issue with the Midlothian board is that they seem unanimously in favor of the flock cameras that the village has a contract with, whereas I disagree with it entirely. And I'm running on the essentially as a referendum to the people of Midlothian, saying if you like Midlothian as it is, but you don't want us to have a contract with Flock, then I'm your guy. That I will come in, continue to work with the current board and the current incumbents and try to make sure that Midlothian stays on the path of growth that we've been on for the last, I would say, maybe 10, 15 years. But I certainly don't want this growth to come with a contract in which Midlothian, Illinois has to pay out $25,000 a year to keep up 10 cameras in our village. I think we can do without it. I think it's an invasion of privacy, and I think our neighbors don't have to live in the panopticon. So my lone position is Midlothian, tear down these cameras. I will be running on that sole issue. If I get voted in, it is because the people of Midlothian agree with me and they don't want these cameras up. And if I don't get it, then it's not an issue I feel I should be continuously running on as a perennial candidate. I think if the village overwhelmingly decides that I'm not the guy, because we vote in 3 trustees, mind you. So if I'm not one of the 3 people who gets elected this April, I'm not going to continue to run for the board of trustees. I'll perhaps focus on the library board or school board, see where else I might be of hand. But it's one thing to be a candidate. It's another thing to run for the basis of running. And I'm running because I want to be someone who can change Midlothian for the better. Again, I think that the current board is fantastic. I wish no ill towards them, and I certainly am not here to, shake anything up and shake them down. I want Midlothian to continue on the good path it's been on. I just want to cancel our contract with Flock and not replace it with another ALPR company. So that is my word from Illinois. We did have an Illinois Pirate Party meeting. We didn't get too much discussion in terms of state business done, but we certainly are going to be meeting again soon. I wanted to get the 2 meetings a month getting going this month, and unfortunately, I just don't think that was doable. But there's always September. So also in September, I'll be collecting signatures and going to the Cook County Village or the Cook County Clerk to file properly. But otherwise, that's all I have. So then I turn it over to our scribe, Lily. What would be the first piece of business for tonight?
On old business is discussion on conference location.
All right. So on that note, I want to apologize firsthand that I'm the one who dropped the ball on this one. That I said I would have an ether pad made up that people can contribute to, put in the city, and put in the numbers that we need. There was concern last week that are we voting based on vibes? Are we voting based on actual thought into putting in our location? And let me make it clear before we jump into anything, I do reject the notion that there's any choosing based on vibes. I do think that everyone has an earnest argument behind where they want this conference to be. And that's not to say that it couldn't be a vibe based thing, that people wouldn't suggest things on vibes. However, I think the three cities that we've particularly been hearing from, I think there's all earnest arguments behind it, and I think it's worth having that discussion. However, I will admit that without the ether pad, we don't actually have these numbers to get into a more in-depth discussion tonight. So that is on me, and I do apologize. I have the ether pad made up and it's ready to be posted. It's just not where I'm currently at, nor do I have the link so I could just simply post it as is. I was making the ether pad, and in making the ether pad, I wanted to have an example made so that there'd be no questions about what was being asked of you. And unfortunately, my work schedule has been keeping me, and I just wasn't able to sit down and put the final touches on it and publish it. That will be remedied tomorrow. I can absolutely have it. I could really have it up as late as tonight, and I don't think there's any difference between tonight or early morning tomorrow. But I will make sure to have that up so that next week, for the entirety of the week, we'll be able to go back and reference the ether pad and discuss the ether pad and go further into what we need to do for the 2027 conference. I will also state for the record that I know Lily voiced a concern about it, but I do think if plausible, maybe we should discuss the 27, 8, and 9 conferences. Though I do hear the concerns about voting so far ahead for conference locations, and I will acknowledge that concern and understand that I do recognize that concern, but it is still something I wish to put out for public consideration. But if we did wish to discuss anything about this tonight, by all means, but without the ether pad, I will say that, I feel it should be delayed a little bit, but that is for you guys to decide. But Wanda, you go ahead.
I would just like to ask that we move to the next piece of business, seeing as we've not gotten the Etherpad yet.
I would say there's no motion in that, so I don't think there's anyone objecting to that. And I think we'll be discussing the conference for the next few weeks, so I think that that's no issue. So, if no objection to that statement, Lily, is there what would be the next piece of business for tonight?
Next piece of business would be for a potential vote for the PNC not to meet on certain dates, which you brought up a while ago.
Thank you, Lily. And if you could, would you be able to post those dates from the agenda into the chats, just so we can, everyone that's in the Jitsi can currently look at those? And thank you so kindly. So what I did do, and this is mostly based on the concerns from the July 5th, I believe it was July 5th. It was from the July 5th meeting where there were concerns because I think if I recall correctly, we did not meet quorum. We there was issues because people were traveling and it was the holiday weekend. And also this is us personally problem, but the wildfire smoke was so bad at the time that I didn't want to do anything but stay inside and ignore it. But that's irrelevant to the point ultimately. The What I brought forward today was I took the liberty after that meeting and I looked out every single meeting where there may be conflict, whether it be due to travel, whether it be due to holiday, whether it be due to special occasion, whatever the case may be. But there is a list in the chats that I put forward for discussion. Obviously, I cannot make motions to adopt. I can only put this forward for your consideration. The only thing that I can immediately see being an issue, which I feel the need to state now, would be that September 6th was slated to be the day in which the conference was decided upon in its entirety, that we said after all the discussions we would vote on it. If this is put forward and if it is adopted as it is adopted, because I realized after looking it up, September 6th is Labor Day weekend. my suggestion would simply be to push that back 1 week into September. Would that be 13th? But like I said, this is not only for the rest of this year, but this is also looking at the 2027 calendar, knowing that there are typically days where we cancel anyways. We usually always cancel Easter Sunday. We usually always cancel for Mother's Day and Father's Day. Memorial Day weekend will be around the corner. We usually don't have a meeting during conference weekend. 4th of July is going to be on a Sunday next year. So like I did take into consideration, a lot of these are either holidays or holiday weekends or just simply days where I think there's going to be an issue. But this is just for consideration. Lily, you may go ahead.
My only feedback would be I would suggest only voting up till the next conference weekend, simply so that a future makeup of the PNC isn't as subject to stuff that's decided now unnecessarily.
I wouldn't. That I think is a fair correction, or at least fair suggestion, however you want to put that, Lily. But thank you. If it would be more comfortable for the board, I will say to vote through the July 6th date. Uh, I would also suggest that, but mostly I do think that this is something that should be considered, voted upon, because we could either hit these dates day by day as they come up, but ultimately I do think that these are dates we should not have meetings just because of the potential issues that will come up. But Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, I would support what Lily just said, but I would also point out, like, I mean, I can't see anything there that I wouldn't support. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Joel. Rowan, go ahead. Rowan and Wanda, I saw you both realize at the same time. I will stick with the Rowan than Wanda, though, just because I already called Rowan. So go ahead.
No, I mean, I didn't have anything enlightened to add, so I was just going to say that it seems reasonable to me too. That's all I had to say.
All right, right on. Thank you. And Wanda?
I would like to move that we cancel the September 6th, 2026, November 29th, 2026, December 27th, 2026, January 3rd, 2027, February 14th, 2027, March 28th, 2027, May 9th, 2027, and May 30th, 2027 meet dates.
So there is a motion on the table to cancel all the meetings that were presented prior to the June 6th. So June 6th is technically not canceled, although typically speaking, there isn't a conference day on that day or a meeting that day anyways. However, we are looking at everything from May 30th and before. So between September 6th and May 30th, those dates are under consideration. Jill, go ahead.
Second.
And there is a second. So then is there any discussion in regards to the dates that have currently been proposed for cancellation? I am hearing none. Then shall we call the vote?
Sounds good.
Right on. In that case, Arizona. Rowan, go ahead.
Sorry, I know I'm late. I was moving to my phone because I had to move physically for a second to do something. Just for a point of order, or just which dates are we voting on right now?
This
Sorry, I
will,
lost track.
if this motion passes, everything that is listed from September 6th until May 30th of 2027. So the June 6th and June 20th, July 4th, all those dates, everything past May 30th is still technically on. We are simply voting to cancel everything from the September 6th meeting to the Memorial Day meeting.
So before the conference?
Yeah, the technically the June 6th conference is not being, or I'm sorry, that conference meeting isn't being canceled at the moment, but historically speaking, there isn't a meeting that day anyway. But right now, this is May 30th and up until modern, September 6th to 26th.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. All right. In that case, back to the vote. Arizona.
Aye.
Thank you. Florida?
Aye.
Thank you. Indiana?
Aye.
Thank you. I don't know why I skipped Illinois there. Illinois?
Aye.
Thank you. I forgot my alphabet again. Maryland?
Aye.
Thank you. Massachusetts?
Aye.
Thank you. And Ohio? Uh-oh. Ohio.
Pardon me, sorry, I'm in line doing something. If you could skip to the next topic and come back.
We are currently on a vote.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, what's the question?
Canceling meetings up to May 30th, 2027 that are close to holidays.
Aye, sorry.
Fantastic. Thank you. And with no rep from Pennsylvania, that means we have a unanimous vote. The ayes have it, and we now no longer have meetings scheduled for September 6th, November 29th, December 27th, July 3rd, September 14th, March 28th, May 9th, and May 30th. Obviously, January onward is 2027, and the rest of this year are the 3 dates named otherwise. Thank you. Motion passes. Right on. That's gonna solve a lot of headaches. Captain, I'm not gonna. You know what? That's why I need the list. If I don't have the callback list in front of me, I'm afraid I'm gonna rely on my memory, and I'm afraid my memory will fail me. So it's always good to have what's actually there in front of you. So that said, thank you kindly. And I will make a separate post on the website to announce that those dates are outside of the in case you missed it as well. I think I want to start advertising the open meetings on the website just to have something on Sunday every Sunday. So just the open meetings. Obviously, the closed PNC meetings will remain closed to PNC member states, but otherwise, I think that the open meetings, PNC member states and actively forming observer states, to fit in everyone who does wish to participate during those meetings that are duly forming. That said, thank you. Lily, what would be the next piece of business, if any?
The next piece of business is a proposed financial policy from Mars that was tabled at the last meeting.
Mars, I understand you are in line at the moment. However, if you do wish to have the floor to discuss the financial plan, you may do so. Otherwise, this is your baby, so I will let you proceed as you wish. Wanda, go ahead, because I think Mars is busy.
I would like to ask that we push this to later in the meeting.
Any objections? I think it's only fair with Mars preoccupied at the moment. I think as soon as he's ready, he can jump back in. So, Lily, what would be the next piece of business?
I believe there's a policy for a vetting committee, from a proposal for a vetting committee. I believe, was it Wanda? Were you the one who proposed it?
I was the one who came up with that composition idea, but the idea for a vetting committee doesn't come from me.
Okay. Well, there's an idea for a vetting committee from the previous PNC meeting, so there should be some discussion on that.
Right on. I was literally just about to ask for that. Thank you so much. So, what you have posted in the chat is what the committee would be comprising of, which would be one captain, that is me, one vice captain, which would be Blaze, one captain emeritus, who is chosen by the PNC, which I would take immediately into assumption it would be Liz. And then it would be 2 reps from PNC state parties as chosen by the PNC. Now,
And
let
the
me.
director of PR. You skipped that.
I did skip that. I'm sorry. I don't know how I missed that, Rowan. My apologies. So the director of PR, which is Rowan. That said, I do have a quick question before I jump into Rowan's hand. 2 reps from state parties as chosen by the PNC. So would that just be any 2 reps chosen at the moment?
So my idea was that state parties could put forward candidates for that and that they would be chosen by the PNC in a vote.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Rowan, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, well, I know it's on the agenda. I don't know if we're just looking over the proposal or what the direct action is or what we're gonna do after. But I'm in support of this because I think it's important for any future candidate process we're gonna do in future election cycles, and maybe we'll apply it to this election cycle, but more so for future election cycles. So I'd say like figuring out. I think the composition proposed I think is great. I think it's very diverse and it will allow for a lot of hands on deck. Um, and yeah, no, that has my support. So if we're considering getting the wheels rolling to get a betting committee going, I would be super down for that. Just so we can get that set up as soon as possible.
Right on. I actually agree wholeheartedly. I don't have any disagreements towards a vetting committee. I think it's something that's long overdue. I think that up to this point, we've been able to skate by on, people approaching us. But unfortunately, at this time, I think we've seen enough to justify. So I think I see no issue with this. I think that the composition of who this is important. I think that this is the right group of people to have. I think besides the chair and the vice chair, I think the director of PR and a captain emeritus are the ideal people to have in such a scenario, as well as any two reps. If you got the confidence of the PNC to say, yeah, we think you'll be a good judgment of character on this candidate that's approaching us, then by all means. I will also point for the record that there are people who have been reaching out to us on the Hello at US Pirates. So I think there was a candidate from Louisiana a couple months ago, which, if I recall correctly, communication dipped. And I think that might be from my party and not theirs. And there's also the person from Florida just recently who reached out to us. So for what it's worth, I think we would have at least two people who the vetting committee can look at it almost immediately. Wanda, go ahead.
I did want to also bring up that I saw an email from someone from Tennessee come in recently as well.
I saw that. That was
I
from
saw that as well.
someone named Seaman, which, as funny as that is, I do also think that that is someone that a previously endorsed candidate had recommended to us. So I think if that is going to be a person that the vetting committee looks at, I do think that association should at least be examined a little bit. Uh, that said, though, I would love candidates from Tennessee, new, better, shinier candidates from Tennessee. And I think that ultimately a vetting committee is the way to move forward. So, for what it's worth, there's currently no. I mean, Wanda, is this technically a motion on the table to adopt such a committee, or is this just a conversation?
I have not made a motion yet.
Understood. So if anyone else has any discussions on the matter, right now it is just a discussion. If you have any suggestions on how you'd rather have the committee or anything, but otherwise it's open to the discussion. Lily, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask if y'all are preferring for this to be strictly a vetting committee or if you're wanting aspects of actively looking for candidates in this. Because as I understand it, as a vetting committee, it's simply vetting candidates that are already before who have reached out.
Rowan, I'm about to call on you in just a moment, but let the record show that that is at least an idea that I thought the vetting committee could do. That I personally was not opposed to having the vetting committee not only vet the candidates that are currently, seeking our endorsement, but if there were candidates that the vetting committee discovered that they said, I really like, the cut of so and so's jib, and I think that they may be natural pirates if we reached out to them. I think that would also be an aspect of a vetting committee that could exist. However, that's not necessarily an expectation that I hold, but it is something that I've at least hoped and considered for a vetting committee, but I understand why some people may want to just keep this a no, let's just vet the people that reach out to us. That said, Rowan and then Joe.
Okay. Well, I'd first say that I'm open to either it being purely just a vetting committee to check out people who are coming toward to our party for endorsements. Um, I also see merit in what Mitch proposed about also outwardly looking for candidates, but what I hear from Lily's point is that it's not, maybe it's just a naming suggestion difference, right? So vetting and candidates, or whatever name you want it to be. But if we're going to carry on both roles, just calling it the vetting committee might be a bit confusing to the extent of looking for candidates or candidate searching, so on and so forth. So I think if that's the issue, if we want to do both, let's just change the name. If we just want to be vetting, then I would support it just being vetting and staying vetting. I'm either way. I just think if you're going to do both, you got to rename it.
Thank you, Rowan. Joe and then Wanda.
Hello. So, just a thought. But this committee is reviewing candidates. Would this committee also be able to review current national laws?
Interesting.
Give them a semi-permanent status.
You know,
Sorry.
no, you know what? Rowan, if you have something so pressing, you wanted to respond to that immediately. But otherwise, I would just put forward that the vetting committee, as I see it, would be, vetting the candidates in particular. However, to Joe, to your suggestion, uh, are there certain laws at the state level that perhaps can be brought forward to the platform committee or to state parties? Say, hey, we saw this as a law in Alabama. Would the Alabama Pirate Party wish to address it? Is that necessarily a bad thing? No. Is that the role of the vetting committee? I don't know. But Rowan, if you had an answer to that immediately, you may go ahead. But then it'll be one with Joel.
Okay, I just
add one quick thing to it. So can I add one?
Joe, then Rowan, then Wanda, then Joel.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the vetting committee, but we should be keeping a pulse on the nation and the shenanigans that our leaders are trying to pull. I think that's part of why we're all here. And thus, if it's not the vetting committee, where would that be a good place? That is my question to the council.
I do have an answer for that, and it's been on my mind, so I'm sorry, Mitch, I'm speaking. I think
Orders.
we could, there's been suggestions of making a legal team. I've heard, like, that's an idea but that's something that would be a lot. I mean, I don't think vetting will be a legal team, in other words. Like looking at, if I'm not understanding you correctly, let me know. But I'm hearing a lot about like law structure and what laws to look into and how that relates to our party and stuff. And I think that I don't know if we currently do have a legal team or a legal support of any sort, but that's something that should and could be looked into in the future. That's all I wanted to respond with.
Thank you, Rowan. It's going to be Wanda, then Joel, then Seth.
Okay, firstly, responding to Joe, no, that would not be the purpose of vetting committee. That's more of a platform committee role to look at laws. Secondly, I'm not opposed to the vetting committee, doing research on candidates that are not already being considered. However, I don't think that should be their primary role. I think it should be primarily to vet candidates that we're already considering.
And for the record, Wanda, I typically have to agree with that positioning, just to say that if a role or what's the word I'm looking for? A capacity of the committee is to find candidates that may be aligned with our values, by all means. But I do think the primary goal would be to vet the candidates that approach us. But if there's an unmissable candidate that someone finds that they're like, oh, please, we have to at least consider discussing endorsing this person, then don't make that the primary objective. But absolutely, if that is an objective on the floor, then I see no fault in it. Joel and then Seth.
Okay, so Mar said in the chat that I think reaching out is the responsibility of PR, and I think that that's really who should be reaching out. If we find a candidate out there that we like, have PR reach out, and then we can present it to the vetting committee. I think that would be a really good way to approach that, so that I don't have a 6-person committee looking for people. And the other thing is, I agree with what Wanda was just saying about, it's just Shoot, I lost my train of thought. I'll catch the next train. Thanks.
Right on, Joel. Thank you. Also, by the way, I agree with that as well. I think it's great to see how PR, which was a position I think I was in full favor of axing just a few short years ago, is quickly becoming a very important board member position. And I think that's no small part to not only Rowan taking on this role, but also just the continued figuring of uses for the PR director to take on and different objectives that they can have. So I'm excited to see the PR chair or PR director grow into something beyond just a placeholder for the title of PR director. So that is very exciting, and I appreciate that. Thank you all. Seth, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mitch. No, I just wanted to say, as because someone said something about a legal team, I forget now who it was, but I remember mentioning something about that, and I definitely think that's a great idea. Definitely to consider having a legal team, and I know that the Bull Moose people do. Not to bring them up too much, but because I know I do it all the time. But no, I mean they do, and I think. Yeah, just that would be a good thing to have. Also, actually, never mind. I just lost my train of thought. Exactly. Okay. Yep.
The trains are moving quick from the station today. Joe, go ahead.
I would have to say Wanda is right. That was the original design of the plank team. However, the plank team was our stance, designed for our own internal stance on different issues and laws, which is not a far function of the legal team. But to have it posted, these are all the current laws, having it up on our website, and even if we don't necessarily review them, but having them, hey, this is on, we're aware of this, this is what's going on, and having that part of it.
Right on. Thank you, Joe. And Lily, go ahead.
For keeping up to date with current laws and giving some information about existing legislation that's relevant to pirate topics, it looks like there was something called like the canon that wasn't started properly that was going on a while ago. Perhaps that could be looked at again for
So
being a vehicle to do that.
the canon was originally supposed to be a sort of pirate newsletter, I think was the original intention of the canon. However, the channel exists as a channel and nothing else. So in theory, the cannon can be pointed in any direction. So by all means, if you guys wish to have the cannon be a sort of, you know, we're firing off at the laws we don't like and figuring out what the pirates can do about it, I think that that would be a great use of the cannon. So uh duly noted. Thank you. Was there anything else for the discussion on vetting committee? Joel, go ahead. And then Wanda.
Yeah, that's what I was going to support was the plank committee should be the ones looking at laws that we agree with or we don't agree with, and bringing it to the board when they've got it down to an actual plank.
Yeah, right on. Thank you, Joel. I don't know if this would require a name change from the canon to the canon committee, but it's certainly, I think the word canon should remain it because I like the concept of what it's doing. But Wanda, go ahead.
I would like to move that we create a vetting committee with the composition of the captain of the party, the vice captain of the party, the director of PR, at least one captain emeritus, and 2 reps from state parties chosen by the PNC.
Second.
That is a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this matter? I'm hearing none. And just before we go and ask if the vote should be called, I will state for the record that since there are already committees in waiting, Then, the second was Marilyn, for the record, Lily. Since we do have candidates in waiting, I would suggest that as this vetting committee assumingly gets formed tonight, that we immediately jump into action and begin looking up not only our candidate from what was it, Florida, and our earlier candidate from Louisiana, but also the gentleman seaman from Tennessee. So by all means, as I ask, let us consider these three candidates moving forward and break the ice with them. Shall we call the vote?
Sounds good to me.
Aye, aye. Arizona.
Aye.
Thank you. Illinois. No, Florida. Fuck.
I.
You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the alphabet written out in front of me from now on, so I don't, do this every single meeting.
Gonna get you one of those like stick on the wall things that they have in like elementary school classrooms.
You know what the worst part is? I can't blame it on like knowing another language because the alphabet's pretty much the same in every language I know. Anyways, that's I's from Arizona and Florida. Illinois.
Also an aye.
Thank you. Indiana.
Aye.
Thank you. Maryland.
Aye.
Joe, I'm going to assume is that is Eli no longer in the meeting? I think Joe, you are going to be the voting reps in Eli's absence. So Massachusetts, is that an I?
Aye.
An A, an I, an E, O, U. Ohio.
Aye.
Thank you. And with that, since there's no representation from Pennsylvania, that is a unanimous vote. The voting committee has been established, and we can get to work immediately with our three candidates from Louisiana, Florida, and Tennessee. And hopefully that'll end in good things. So right on. Thank you. Motion passes. Lily, what would be the next piece of business?
One other thing on the vetting committee, since the PNC needs to choose some stuff, could that happen at the next meeting?
That is true. I guess we can't just put forward the voting. We know who most of the voting committee is, but we still need to vote on the two members. Is that a suggestion?
And also the captain emeritus, because
And the captain emeritus, yes.
My suggestion would be for that to be on the agenda for next week, if there's no objection to that.
As an observer member, you're in your right to make suggestions, and I think as scribe, you'd be the one
right.
writing. Yeah. So if no one's, I don't think there needs to be a motion for that. I think that, yeah, we can. If next week, I'm sorry, what?
No objections.
Right on.
All right.
Well, in that case, Lily, you can confirm that next week we will vote on who the two reps and the captain emeritus is. And at that point, we can get going on actually making the voting and the vetting and the who's its and the what's its. So thank you kindly. That said, that'll be a piece of new business for next week. What remaining old business do we have?
Sorry, we're on new business right now. The next piece of new business is updated FEC filing. There was some discussion about updating it. I was asked to put this on the agenda.
Unfortunately, Jamie is not here, and Jamie and Eli have been the two proprietors about it. Joe, if you have any information on that, I can ask if you have anything to speak on. Otherwise, I can put forward and say that Jamie has been, doing the proper filings and doing everything to properly, make sure that we are filed accordingly. But Joe, if you do have anything on that statement, by all means.
Yeah, I know that they were working on the back end in the Treasury chat. I will follow up with Jamie tomorrow to make sure that's done right. If not, I'll make sure it happens myself.
Thank you. And then if we continue this, I know that there is a financial plan in place for Mars, which I know we keep pushing back, and at some point I assume it's going to come up. But if it doesn't happen tonight, which I assume it's going to, but if it doesn't happen tonight, would Jamie be able to meet next week just to confirm that, how everything's going with the filings?
I've gone through this process before for filing for it when we originally formed. I'm pretty intimate on the process, and if need be, I will make sure that all of our ducks are in a row. If Jamie doesn't get it done, I will get it done.
Right on. Thank you, Joe. And no, the captain is involved in the treasury chat for reference, Mars. I am in the chat. I have seen it. I don't know if Joel's in that chat actually. Now that you say that, Joe, could you make sure if Joel is not in on the financial discussion side of things, just as our auditor, that he is included in these discussions?
He most certainly, as the auditor, should be in that chat. So I will make sure tonight he's in that chat.
Thank you. And I'll peek in as well, Joel. If you're not in it, we're gonna make sure that you're in it properly. So thank you. That said, anything else? I guess is there anything else we can really discuss tonight on this subject? But otherwise, if nothing else, we can jump into the next piece.
That's the end of the agenda, accepting that financial policy proposal from Mars.
So the last piece of business is just accepting Mars's financial proposal?
Reviewing it, doing whatever, discussing it.
All right. Wanda, if you have the time, you officially have the floor again. We can discuss the proposal as you wish. Like I said earlier, this is your baby, so as you wish to approach this, you have the floor.
This isn't Wanda's well, I mean, I could make the joke that if it's mine, it's hers, but anyways, this is my baby. I have written out a concept for a financial policy. So, if it is not too loud in here, I hope it is not too loud where I'm at. I'm gonna find our DMs because I'm on my phone instead of my laptop at the moment. I should have been ahead of the game here, but I was not, so bear with me. There it is. Alrighty. So, I don't know if I should share my screen here because it's kind of a longer document with sections. Okay, go for it, Wanda. What do you want?
I would like to ask for you to post a document in the chat for us, like a link to it.
I can try to, yeah. Because I had it just as a PDF. Geez, now I gotta figure out how to get this in here. Boom. Putting it in my Google Drive and I'll send the link.
Joe, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, Joel, you should be all set and add it to that chat now. And I sent you a couple of messages.
Thank you, Joe.
There you go. It's the Google Drive link there.
You haven't given people with the link access.
Oh, geez. Okay, give me a second. Manage anyone with the link. There, should work. Unless it changed the length. I don't know.
We got it.
Okay. So I'm going to. I wish that Jitsy's chat wasn't so buggy on mobile, but anyways. Going in there real fast. So basically my idea here is to make sure that current treasury and down the line has a proper set of guidelines in order to transfer credentials, manage accounts, and keep proper documentation, filing status, and communication. With two core values that I put in for that committee being, well, it's not a committee, is it? It's the secret committee. It is now. Transparency and good faith. So that being said, having that information properly disclosed for the PNC to know about, as well as, ethical practices when it comes to maintaining and transferring accounts and use of funds. With a couple things mentioned about reassignment of credentials after election of officers, and making sure that credentials are passed on through encrypted channels, as well as making sure that as soon as the new treasurer and auditor are brought in and get themselves situated, that incumbents are no longer having access to accounts. I don't think that I don't think that previous people in the role should maintain access when they leave the role. That opens us up to a lot of risk in terms of security of the accounts. As another thing mentioned was how things should be handled in the event of account closure, or if accounts are being moved to another bank. Creation of accounts, who should have access, what types of accounts are acceptable, who would be authorized to be a signer for the account, and then finally a section on upkeep of FEC filing with guidelines of how that should be done. This document is absolutely subject to change, especially since we are in the process of getting FEC filing done. And I will not claim to be a professional with FEC filing. So if we need to tweak that section, that can absolutely be done. Oh, all right. Now I'm out of the document. Now I see Joe's hand raised. Go for it.
Just a couple caveats. One, for transparency's sake, I've been off that account for a long time. I just overshadowed the whole proceedings because, in my many years of doing it, I just got real good at it. But the FEC in there, we should put some hyperlinks directly from the FEC because they have a really rough training on how to do it, and it's very useful for any candidate. And so that's an easy copy paste into our form that I think we should do. The other aspect of it too is I believe Dannon, even though he's still in the treasury chat room, he has been officially removed from the bank accounts. We keep a very tight leash on it because of way back in the day, what basically destroyed our party was people running amok with all the money. So once burnt, twice shy. So I very much appreciate your work on this, Mars. I think it's great work.
Thank you. Go for it, Joel.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, this is a really good start to, help us move in that direction. And I think like anything that we do here, it's all going to be a work in progress, but this gives us some bones to build off of. And I think the real strength here, that's the one thing I saw was what Joe talked about is, I think I could definitely use a hyperlink in there to the FEC guidelines. That way, as auditor, I could look at it and know whether or not it's being done according to the rules. Because right now, I just look at it. If the numbers don't change, it's good to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. I heavily referenced the FEC guidelines, but I'll make sure to put in a link.
Yeah, it's good to know that there's trainings out there for it. So thanks for your work.
Alrighty. Well, I am pretty much done presenting my case now, Mitch.
Well, thank you. Is there, did you want to put a motion forward tonight? Did you want to hang on to it for next week? How do you want to move forward with this? Or was the discussion just enough?
I think that for now, I'm going to hold on to it so I can make the edits that would be wanted before proposing putting it into place.
If I can oppose that and say adopt this as a temporary living document and make the edits as we go.
I would support that.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, then I guess a motion to adopt this financial policy and allow for edits over time.
Second.
Before we jump into that, that is a motion and a second, so discussion will begin in a moment. I'm just going to restart the stream just in case. So give me un momento. It's like we never left. Folks, welcome back. There is a motion on the table and a second for said motion, which is to adopt Mars's living document as is, with the chance to edit, as is an editable living document based on financial transparency and good faith in the United States Treasury, United States Pirate Party Treasury. I have no good faith in the U.S. Treasury. That's beyond the point. But folks, there is a motion on the table. Are there any further discussions or conversations or questions or comments or concerns in regard to the motion?
Yeah, I have one question. I know that from the discussion that we were having earlier in the week, do we need to select a name for the FEC filing?
No, if I recall correctly, we are properly going to be filed as the United States Pirate Party, so there is no need for. Oh, and no, Joel, thank you for. So actually, that is something that Jamie had brought up. So it's really just a vote. Thank you for bringing it up. It is a vote to just confirm that we all are all good moving forward, refiling it with the FEC as the United States Pirate Party. Lily?
That's not relevant to the issue at hand, so we can just run the vote and then discuss that.
Fair point. Very good point. So that will be discussed in a moment. Thank you, Joel. So if there are no further discussions in terms of the financial plan at hand, are we ready to call the vote?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, let's see if I can know my alphabet. Arizona,
Aye.
Florida,
Aye.
Illinois,
Aye.
Indiana,
Aye.
Maryland,
Aye.
Massachusetts,
Yeah, sure. Aye.
cool, and Ohio.
Aye.
Right on. That is once again a unanimous vote. We've had nothing but unanimous votes all night. So that is passed as a living document, able to be edited and able to be discussed at later time. So we are, Joe, we're good to go. Thank you. And just to bring up Joel's point, I guess we can put forward that right now. Jamie did ask if we are all good moving forward with the FEC filings under the name United States Pirate Party. Joe, go ahead.
So just some clarity, we're named the United States Pirate Party Collaborative.
Cooperative.
Cooperative. Thank you for the correction. Gotta keep me honest. The point is that right now, because we have to refile and do everything, we can literally rename ourselves into something a little bit more form fitting, and because we'll be pulling down a new tax ID number, and then switching everything over, because it just makes it a lot easier, a lot cleaner. At least that's what they wanted to, or we have the option of just keeping the same tax ID number. It doesn't make a lick of difference to the government. So
I believe Lily, to your question, I think we were originally filed as United States Pirate Party, and then there was some type of hoo-ha. It was a little before my time. I can't give you an exact rationale as to why it became that. However, I believe it became that based on a like cleanup crew job. But Joe, if you wish to discuss that more, you may.
I can. It was actually a hiccup because of the previous registration of the pirate party. And so Joseph Klein, who was the treasurer at that time, or second, I was the treasurer, he was the second mate, and that's the one he just locked in so it could be officially formed. He put up the starting money for it, and that's what we locked in as. And so I do miss Joseph Klein. He was a very, very wise human being, and I wish he was still a part of this. But that being said, he did his best to get everything locked in at a time where things were very turbulent. So, and that was that. Now, as far as I know, that other name has fallen off, so we could probably snatch it up because there's not too many people trying to claim to be us at this point.
No, there is not. And even the ones that claim it seem to give up those claims after a day. So thank you, Joe. But that said, I think that that's about the skinny of it. Just the fact that it was filed under the name just based on necessity or just based on a hiccup or just based on whatever the case may be, it didn't seem to be a final decision or what they ultimately hoped the party would be named forever. It seemed like it was just a filing for the sake of filing, but with the name United States Pirate Party available, I see no reason as to why we shouldn't make the switch and officially be filed under the name United States Pirate Party. But that is my personal opinion on that matter. But if anyone, there's still discussion on this matter. This is something that Jamie had asked that we discuss. Otherwise, I think Jamie's ready to just go ahead and file it as United States Pirate Party. But if there is any, concerns, comments, anything about this, by all means, this would be the chance to discuss it.
For the record, if we did get a new name, it would be a different tax ID number, which is literally just a form on a website on the IRS. So,
Super easy.
Wanda, go ahead.
I have a question. Why would Jamie be filing this and not our treasurer or auditor?
that is a great question. I think he's just covering for Eli. It would be the same as if any other Massachusetts person is just covering, but Jamie's been the one to always make sure things are good with us.
It is a fair question, and to be clear, you are technically allowed assistance, and if Eli needed the assistance from Jamie, that's not necessarily a bad thing. However, it is worth pointing out that I think Jamie's been more hands-on with this process than Eli has, and that's not to discredit Eli in any way, but that I think is a fair observation that should be stated aloud. Mars and then Blaze.
All right. So, um, I mean, we just passed this document too, and I did bring that up in this document on how that should go. But I mean, if Jamie were assisting Eli and Eli were the one filing it, I would not have any opposition. But I think that Eli should be the one who is legally filing it under his name, and Jamie can help, but Jamie should not have his name on the papers.
Thank you, Mars, Blaze, and then Joe.
I concur with Mars, and I was more or less going to say the same thing because I don't know what else to say on that other than it has to be Eli. No one else. It can be Jamie. Jamie can help, but it has to be Eli.
For the record show, or let the record show, I don't necessarily disagree with any of you with what you're saying. I think our treasurer should be doing the treasurer's duties. However, and again, this isn't really a excusing it, but just to say that I do think we are in good hands with Jamie, but that isn't to negate what everyone else is saying. And I just want to throw that out there that I think that Eli, as treasurer, should be doing the treasurer's job. Not to negate the good work Jamie's doing, but this is ultimately Eli's tasks. Joe, then Wanda.
I would just have to say that part of the reason why we have Jamie help us with this, and has been a longstanding practice to deputize people to help us, but Jamie literally lives right next to the bank, and it has been very convenient to have Jamie. We've had a longstanding relationship with this particular bank, and they don't charge us anything for this type of account. So it's been a really nice account. We never get fees for anything, which is why this one particular one. That being said, legally, Jamie cannot fill out those forms. It has to be done by the treasurer. So the FEC, all of that, and Jamie is well aware of this fact. We can help Eli with it. We cannot do it for him.
I suppose as long as that understanding is made clear that Eli does have to ultimately be the treasurer at the end of the day and take on the treasurerly duties, the duties of the treasurer, treasurerial. I don't. What would be whatever? That's not important to this conversation.
I think
Point is-
treasurerly was funny. We should go with that.
Yes. Don't expect me to pronounce it again, though. So that said, as long as Eli knows that ultimately these are his tasks and that he is going to have to be the final signatures and he's going to have to be the final say on it, as long as that understanding is made clear, that at least eases the mind a little bit. But it does, the concerns being brought up now are certainly not coming from nowhere. And while I do appreciate Jamie, I do expect Eli as treasurer to be more treasurerly. Want to go ahead?
I just wanted to ask, when it comes to like assistant treasurers, who decides who an assistant treasurer is?
On that basis, I would say, and this is just on the subject of how it's been, just if you need an assistant in anything, you're allowed to pick your assistants freely. If I needed an assistant swarm care manager when I was swarm care manager, I was able to just say, hey, you're the assistant swarm care manager. If Joe needs an assistant lookout, he's able to pick an assistant lookout. If you want to need an assistant swarm care manager, you're able to pick so. And just on that assumption, I would have to say that that is the same privilege granted to the treasurer. Although if there is issue with that, by all means, I'm not willing to state that with the intent of defending it. I'm more so just stating it for the statement of fact of how it seems to be playing out.
I mean, I if I may respond to that.
The floor is yours, and then as soon as you are done, Mars, you also seem to have a response to that, so you're all good.
Um, I think that that system generally works for most positions. My concern is that we're touching the money here, you know?
And that's a fair concern, Wanda. That's absolutely a fair concern. So, Mars, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, on that point, I think that being able to appoint an assistant treasurer is good and okay. But at the end of the day, the one who has legal binding to be able to fill out forms and sign for things would be the treasurer themselves. I say this, I mean, I haven't dealt with FEC, but I've done dealings with the IRS. Um, it's a similar process, and I do believe when I discussed this with Jamie and Eli that it was simply Eli doesn't know how to fill out the FEC forms, which I went and I looked at the FEC forms. They're not that bad. I think someone could walk him through it and then he could figure it out.
Joel and then Wanda.
So I think that that as auditor, being able to sit down and say, hey, Jane, is Eli's signature on here? And I think that would just be one of my responsibilities in providing that oversight. But I really do think that having having assistance from anybody is great. I mean, I used to have like one of those big director jobs where I had to sign all the checks, but I wasn't going to write all the checks, and I wasn't going to be, I was just going to review the accounting and then sign off on it. So it really comes down to the size of the operation. This operation's pretty small, so having very few assistants and really only one signature on the whole thing is, I think, really important, but it also is something that I can oversee.
Thank you, Joel, and I would like you to oversee it. Wanda, then Blaze.
I just wanted to clarify, I'm not against us having assistants for the treasurer. More so, I think that um, the PNC should know who these people are, and it shouldn't be able to be solely decided by the treasurer. I think that's a little bit too much power there, just with regards to the money.
Thank you, Blaze, then Joe.
I lost my train of thought there, just so I have nothing else to say. Sorry.
Right on. Joe, go ahead.
I would have to respectfully disagree on the idea that if somebody needs assistance, I, honestly, they should be able to go to whoever they feel comfortable getting the assistance. And that I do think that Joel is the person to make sure everything is on the up and up. So, that clean reporting. I have to say that many a times when I got stumped on something, I went to Jamie, who has years of dealing with government forms and making sure everything is on point. And not to mention other people that when I've gotten confused, whether I called into the FEC directly or etc. I just want the treasurer to do their job, and so long as it's done right and the accounts are right, I think that's what we really want, right?
Yes and no. To that point, Joe, while I do think that Jamie, and again, I'm on team Jamie is good hands. However, I do think that Eli is the one who's been elected treasurer, and therefore I don't disagree with anyone who's currently stating that Eli should have a bigger role in this. And again, it's to Blaze's point, it does feel like Jamie is doing a lot of the work for Eli. And while I don't necessarily think Jamie would make a bad treasurer, in fact, he'd probably be the candidate for treasurer if we had to, pick one single person to do it. He's not currently the treasurer. Eli's currently the treasurer. And while I know he has plenty of years of experience, what I would hope or prefer is that Eli is being taught this, so Eli would be able to do it without the assistance of Jamie in the future, even if
I'm
it
not
is.
arguing, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm not arguing that point. I think Eli should be doing it 100%. I just don't want to, when it was said that too much power to go and deputize somebody in order to help get the job done. Whatever the scope is, I'd rather have it be accurate and be right than not have to be able to get the help you need when you need it. So I go for all positions in the PNC. I'd rather ask dumb questions than do dumb things.
Thank you, Joe. And to that point, I will state for the record that we lost our FCC filing, and that's why it needs to get refiled. And I think we would not have lost it if we had a treasurer that was doing their job and doing what they were supposed to do and constantly staying on top of it and reading up. And if it takes an assistant to make sure that we're good to go, instead of having a treasurer not seek an assistant and letting it fall, I know what I would prefer. But with that said, that's not exactly a position I'm really uh, I don't want to state that and say that like I'm absolutely okay with Jamie doing the job, because again I would, and to Joe, I'm not saying you're not saying this, but I think we would all agree that Eli as treasurer should be doing the treasurer's job. It's just definitely something that is clearly bothersome for a lot of people, and I'm not unbothered by it, but it's definitely a worthwhile discussion that we're having to say that the treasurer should be able to perform the treasurer's task without the seemingly having an assistance of someone doing it wholeheartedly or wholehandedly, because all this really says to me is that come 27 conference we should put Jamie up for treasurer instead of Eli, and I don't necessarily want to put Jamie in such a position, but we action does need to take place from the treasurer, not so much from the treasurer's assistants. That you are the help that you receive, you are the help that you ask for, but you are ultimately you, and I need Eli to be the one leading the charge once it's all said and done. And if it's not now, it should. I hope that it'll be sooner rather than later.
Then I think it would go to say if the treasurer is failing in their duties, we should put in some clause where perhaps the auditor becomes the treasurer, or the council revotes on who the treasurer is doing if they're grossly failing in their duties. Not to say that we're doing that now, but if somebody's failing in their job and it's an important job.
We do have the opportunity to votes of no confidence, and we did change the bylaws to state that votes of no confidence can apply to single positions as opposed to the entire board. So not to jump into the drastics and saying let's remove him in a vote of no confidence right now, but it is an option that is always available if that confidence is lost. And again, Eli, if you happen to be tuning in, we're not trying to talk you down or vote against you, but we do wish you'd be just be a little more hands-on with Jamie in regards to this. Jamie's a great asset, a great person to be involved with and take advice from, but it can't just be him. Uh, Wanda and Rowan had your hands up. But since Rowan, you put yours down, I'm going to call on Wanda first. And if you do have something to say afterwards, Rowan, you do have the floor.
I wanted to say that I think we're talking a little bit too much about Eli here. It's been like a month or two. It's not been that long since we elected officers. I think it's way too soon to make any kind of judgment on Eli. But my point was that the PNC should know who the treasurer is taking advice from and should approve of who the treasurer is taking advice from. And even though we all trust Jamie here, what if Jamie's not always the person that our treasurer is going to? That's my concern. I worry about the precedent.
Well, Wanda, can I ask at maybe the next meeting? I mean, if you wish to do it tonight, we could do it tonight, but maybe the next meeting, if we could put forward a motion to ask that any board members who assign assistance or ask for assistance be transparent with the board and let them know that they are receiving help in certain fields with, X, Y, or Z. At least this would be my suggestion. If Rowan need an assistant PR director, Rowan would come to the board and let us know, by the way, I am taking advice from this person. The reason is because they have experience in PR, they've done this before somewhere else, whatever the case may be. And I understand what you're saying, and you don't think it matters except for treasurer. But it's at least something I wanted to throw out there just because it is just on this discussion. But the order is going to be Rowan and then Joe and then Joel.
May I respond briefly?
Absolutely, Wanda. You have the floor, and then Rowan, and then Joe, and then Joel.
I just wanted to say I do think it would be a good idea to at least have that kind of transparency here when it comes to our treasurer role. I'm not necessarily saying that the PNC needs to vote on who assistant treasurers are, but the PNC does need to be in the know. And like these things need to happen at PNC meetings rather than like in private chats.
Absolutely, and for what it's worth, if we're expecting a report at least monthly from our treasurer, in that report to know who is assisting them, and even if before that, but I would at least like to know if you're getting continuous assistance. That would be a nice report, a nice thing to report on. But duly noted. Thank you, Wanda. So Rowan, then Joe, and then Joel. You're muted.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Um,
what I originally thought, or what I originally wanted to say, I kind of forgot, but I'm just going to disclose because now you said I should disclose. I, as the PR director, but definitely been getting a lot of assistance from Lily. I think, Lily, didn't I make you like a vice chair of the committee or something? I believe I did. No, I did. And so, yeah, if we're disclosing that now, then as the PR director, that's my disclosure because Lily's been super duper helpful with the press committee, and I wouldn't be able to do a lot if Lily wasn't there. So thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, even beyond the transparency of announcing who's been assisting you or getting assistance from, it is good to have that on record because as we move forward to elections in the future, if someone has been assisting in certain areas and they've proven themselves to be capable of being that assistance and oh, I'm familiar, I've been working in a certain area. Excuse me, I've been working in a certain area and I've developed a knowledge of how it's done, or I've learned under this learning tree and figured out how to do things a certain way. I think that that's not only valuable just for the sake of transparency for us in the present and what's happening in living color, but beyond that, I think it would be good for when we do have our conference and it comes time to vote. Uh, we can, people can actually vouch on that record, saying like, well, Lily has been helping PR for the majority of the term. So, when if Lily runs for PR director, that would work in her favor. Like things like that would be very helpful just for future reference. Joe and then Joel.
I just wanted to mention and say that is very understandable from that perspective, but I'd have to say that in all posts is very much a common practice with this council to give credit where credit is due. Anytime we do help, we give reports. That's been the norm forever. So that is 100% fair to know who's doing what.
Thank you, Joe. Joel, then Wanda.
So I was going to go in kind of the opposite direction where, like Rowan he's the PR director, and if he pulls the committee together, he's getting help from 10 people. I don't need to know who all 10 people are. I do want to know if he's got somebody who's giving substantial, like in the discussion about the treasurer. I do want to know if we've got somebody who's got substantial input that's actually creating or even acting in his absence. Those are the people I really want to know about. But I don't need to know everybody who's given any input. I just want to know if you've got somebody who's acting in the guise of a lieutenant or a co-chair.
Thank you, Joel. Wanda.
Joe, could you repeat the last thing you said? I had a response, but I lost my train of thought.
I said that we're mostly in agreement here. I think we're kind of talking in circles at this point because I agree with you that we should be transparent. And it has been precedent that we give credit where credit is due. And I think that Jamie knows where the line is. And I'm going to make sure that nobody crosses it because, I love this party. I love clean water. And I want to make sure that we're still moving forward in the right direction, and I want to make sure that we were all doing what we're supposed to be doing. So I want to make sure this conflict is resolved, and we'll move forward.
All right, I remember my response now. What I was going to say is that, like, I do get that everyone here agrees that we should be transparent. The problem is that we haven't been. When's the last time we had a finance report at PNC?
That's a fair question, and I think that's a big reason as to why we adopted Mars's proposal. And I think moving forward now, I think as soon as, if not the end of this month, but September, we should start hearing these reports from our treasurer, from Eli specifically. And it would be helpful to know exactly, what are we working with in the bank account? How are we doing with the filings and all that jazz? To that point, just I think money is a little bit of a stickier issue to just leave to the vices of, good faith and goodwill. And I don't say that to say that we can't trust the people that we put in place, but the financial transparency aspect is absolutely right on. And I think that, to Joe's point, I think we are all pretty much in agreement that we are kind of talking in circles at this point. But at the same time, I'm glad that we're at least getting all this out, because I don't want to sit on anything where it's, we're missing, we're forgetting to say something, and maybe after the fact we have to say something that, write it down and bring it up the next meeting. I'm glad we're rehashing it, even if it feels like we're bringing up points again and again. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm glad that we're getting everything out that we need to get out. So I appreciate all of you for contributing to this conversation. That said, is there anything else with this conversation? Trust but verify. Yes, I think so. Meeting is at 90 minutes, nothing left on the agenda. Trust but verify. I agree. Rowan,
Motion to
Joe, you have a
Motion
question?
to adjourn. Joe. Just mess with you. Sorry.
Okay, I heard a motion in a second. What are the hands up though? Is there are those what's going on
One
with?
hand is a second. I was going to bring up that we never actually voted on approving the filing for the new name.
That is because we never actually had a motion on it. This was
Motion to approve the new filing name.
Second.
Can I ask for unanimous, or do we want to call the vote?
call the vote.
Oh, you son. Okay, Arizona,
Aye.
Florida,
I
Illinois,
Aye.
Indiana,
Aye.
Maryland,
Aye.
Massachusetts,
Aye.
and Ohio.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you. Unanimous plus 2 yeses from Ohio. So thank you. The motion has passed. That said, there was also a motion to adjourn and a second. And I'm getting the most disturbing GIF in my phone right now. So is there a motion? There's a motion to adjourn and there is a second. Are there any objections? I'm hearing none. Therefore, yes, Rowan did send me the Apple GIF. So therefore, I will state that the meeting tonight's the August 16th Pirate National Committee open meeting has officially come to a close. Thank you all for tuning in. Next week we have a closed meeting, and we will be posting the link for anyone who is a PNC member or a forming PNC member state. 2 weeks from now, we'll be back into our open meeting schedule, and we will have a post on our website. I'm going to begin doing that. So every open meeting, I'm going to start posting on our website and having a link for anyone that wishes to join. So if you're watching on YouTube right now and you say, wow, I want to join one of these meetings one of these days, but God, I don't like Discord. Well, good news. You can visit uspirates.org, and every other Sunday we will have this. I strongly suggest Eli's invited to the last scheduled meeting of each month. I agree. So Joe, if you could just let Eli know that at the very least, we hope to see him at the last meeting of every month. Just if you can give a treasurer report, we'd greatly appreciate him. And
I do believe that Eli is supposed to be at most meetings. Isn't he Massachusetts' rep?
He is.
under that basis, well, let's Massachusetts, send your boy, and let's get him going. That said, I'm done with everything today except for one final thing. And you know something, Wanda?
Aye, Captain.
Do you know why I love this party?
Why do you love this party?
I'm so glad you asked. I love this party because we believe the United States should be a good neighbor. We believe in cool, clean water, like Hank said. And we believe if purchasing isn't ownership, well, then piracy isn't theft. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your night. It is 9:30. We hit an hour and a half. Folks, vote pirate and victory is ours. Have a great rest of your night.